this is Kate from Generate Magic, and today I want to talk about desire and the role that other people play in orchestrating or carrying out our desires. And so recently I've talked about how I write fiction, and I kind of made the conviction or made the decision that I'm really going to focus on my fiction and focus on making my dream of being a best-selling author a reality. And so I've been committing to, not necessarily every day, but just about every day, working on my fiction in some sort of capacity. And, but I was still kind of craving some sort of structure, right? Like structure and guidance. And so I had this desire, right? This kind of, I would say kind of like a vague desire, right? That I really just needed some sort of support. And so once that was out there, right, it started to kind of take shape and form, and it moved from being a general or more abstract desire, and the details started to take shape and take form, and then I began to act on this desire. And so I actively began looking for writing workshops, because that's one thing that I really miss is not that I necessarily, I'm at a phase where I've been writing most of my life. That's what I got my degree in. And so I'm pretty confident when it comes to the actual craft of writing. But I still felt like I needed, just some support, when it came to the actual structure. And I think workshops are a great way of providing that structure and that support system, and also and also just providing a sense of community, because writing, it can be pretty lonely. And I'm sorry about, it's a very windy day today, and so I'm hopefully the wind won't be too loud. And so, so anyway, I decided that, I really wanted some sort of writing workshop, right? And so I began looking online for different writing workshops. And I really wanted something that was something kind of like the types of writing workshops that I experienced kind of in college, right? Something that was small, something that was intimate, where there would really be like a sense of community, where you would really get to know the other people in your workshop, and also where you would really get, personalized feedback and just have an opportunity to form a relationship with the instructor. Because some workshops now, especially kind of on this online format, right? And especially if it's like a really big name writer who's teaching these workshops, typically the way it works is that they'll kind of lead the workshops, and most cases it's like these pre-recorded lessons, and so you just kind of follow along, and but the teacher isn't necessarily giving you any personalized instruction, right? And so I was kind of looking for something, that was a little bit more personal and a little bit more intimate. And I had actually had a workshop a few years ago, probably more than a few years ago, maybe not quite a decade ago, but it was some years ago, right? And that was perfect, and where it was everything that I described. And the instructor, she was so good, and I felt like it was even better than anything that I had experienced like in a formal college setting. And she really just went above and beyond and really just provided a lot of structure, and she was just perfect. But the workshop, it was in speculative fiction and kind of like sci-fi and fantasy, and the novel that I am currently working on is a romance novel. And so I thought, well, it might not be quite, the right match, right? And I didn't even know if she was still teaching workshops. But I thought, why not? It wouldn't hurt to at least reach out to her. And so I did. So I reached out to her, and gosh, maybe like a couple of hours passed, and she sent me this super enthusiastic reply, and just saying how excited she was to hear from me, and how she had always loved my writing. And not only that, but she had actually been thinking about emailing me a couple of days ago and asking me a question about one of the short stories I had written in her workshop. And so it was very much just showing that this was divine guidance that I had received to reach out to her. And I was then kind of acting on this divine impulse, even if it on the surface it kind of seemed maybe like impractical or seemed like, well, I don't know quite where this is going to go, but I acted on that impulse anyway. And she said she went into some other things that I won't go into because it was a few personal details about her life, but basically it was kind of like, it was very much the definition of a win-win situation where she was very much willing to help me, and it was the type of arrangement where I would be helping her in return. And so yeah, it was just very exciting how all of it unfolded. And it was a few days ago that since I received this email and since we actually met up over Zoom, but I'm still just reeling with the excitement and just how perfect all of it was and how perfect all of it unfolded. And but yeah, and again, I don't want to go into her personal details because obviously that's her business, but she said that for a few reasons she was actually wanting to kind of learn more about romance writing. And so really, yeah, it was just the perfect opportunity for both of us. And so she's provided me kind of with the structure and this framework, and there was such a sense of excitement and the certainty knowing that I am going to fulfill my goal. And then at the same time, so when I was in this process of reaching out to people, I had reached out to another woman as well. And this woman I didn't know personally, but through all the Google searches that I was doing, I just came across her website. And she wasn't offering any workshops, but she did something called story coaching. And I was like, well, I want to know more about this woman. It looks like she has like a lot of things to offer, a lot of tools. She was a very experienced high school teacher, and so I know she definitely kind of knew her stuff, and would be able to kind of provide me with that structure. And also there was kind of that resonance, right? Since I used to be a high school teacher myself. And so even though from the time of speaking to this woman and speaking to the other woman, I was like, it's not going to hurt, to speak to her as well. And so today I had a meeting with this other woman, and also, I don't know if I mentioned before, to give you a bit of context, so I have another novel that I've been working on for, going on 7 years now, and it's maybe more. And it's a very complicated situation dealing with a writing partner, and it's a very complex plot, right? Very convoluted, and multiple narrators, and very much kind of set in the speculative world, and yeah, so just a lot of complications, and the fact that it's taken place over so many years is kind of adding to the complications. And so the romance novel is kind of like a fresh start, right? It's just kind of starting something completely from scratch, clean slate, and kind of like, let's see where this goes. Whereas the other novel, the work of speculative fiction, is more like, yeah, I know this, I have very good feelings about this work. Obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I would say, to be fair, that I'm probably my own harshest critic, and I think it's a very good book, and I think it has the potential to do very, very well with readers. I think readers would love it, and I think it has the potential to do very well commercially too, just to be a very successful book. And but like I said, again, because of all these complications, it could be a little bit overwhelming. And so I was talking to the woman today, and it became revealed that she had something called story consultation services, where you would just meet with her for an hour, and she didn't need to read your story. She didn't need to know any of the quote-unquote backstory. It would basically just be kind of hashing out hashing out basically kind of all the complexities and the places where you were stuck. And I've already kind of created a lot of mind maps around it, and also, just these very kind of detailed summaries of each of the chapters. And so I was like, wow, this is just perfect. And I really feel like she's the person that will be able to guide me and provide me with the support that I need through with this project. And on top of that, she's also an editor, and she has the type of editing service that I think is kind of perfect, because it's more kind of like big picture editing, and because I can very much kind of get in the weeds, get obsessed about language and descriptions and sentence structure, and plus that's what I'm good at, and we always kind of play to our strengths, right? Instead of kind of looking at the larger, kind of maybe more structural things going on with this novel. And so she's able to kind of has this service called like a manuscript review, where she's able just to kind of look at it from this much broader perspective. And so anyway, both of these kind of partnerships have just formed, and it's not even been a week already. It's just been over the last few days that both of these partnerships have formed. And so I think the main takeaway that I want to leave you with from this video is, so first you have this desire, right? And gradually the desire starts kind of coming more and more into focus. And then you kind of start thinking about, okay, and this is specifically for creative projects, but also any sort of like entrepreneurial goals, right? I think this can definitely relate to any sort of like business goals, right? I think, well, publishing a book is a business, right? And so yeah, it's kind of thinking about, okay, what other people can kind of come in to help me with this project. And I used to kind of, well, not even used to, even just very recently, I kind of had this idea in my head, which I realized was like a limiting assumption, where I thought, okay, if we're really kind of going all in on this belief that we are essentially channeling the divine, right? And that it all comes from us, and that we're the operant power in our reality, then we should just do it all by ourselves, right? That we shouldn't ask anybody else for support or assistance. And this belief was really getting me stuck. And because it was almost kind of like making me feel like if I asked anybody for help or for guidance, then it was kind of like admitting a weakness, right? Or admitting that I really wasn't that powerful. And this kind of corrected that belief. And it was like, no, that's not true at all. All these people, and really, right, everybody is us pushed out. And so other people will come in to play their roles. And it really is this beautiful divine orchestration where we're all working together towards these mutually beneficial goals. And it's helping us, and it's helping these other people as well. So there's something very beautiful and something very harmonious about the whole experience. And so that's something really that I want you to take away from this video today. So I'm very excited to see where this will unfold. And I will definitely keep you updated as it unfolds. So thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.